two things I wanted to cover today. One, I wanted to just share one story about product management. And second, I wanted to speak about the actual bootcamp that we've just launched, right? The first story that I want to start with, what happened? I don't know, Abhishek, if you know this story, but back in 2009, when Obama came into power, he started this one program called the Obamacare program, which was basically like a universal healthcare insurance program in the US, right? And that bill got passed after like a huge amount of debate in their Congress. When the bill got passed, it was called Obamacare, right? Which was essentially under that act, a platform was going to get created where anyone can choose their own health insurance plan from n number of companies. So like a marketplace for insurance companies, right? And so they, hired Accenture, they hired many other companies to create that platform, and they spent some $200 million, like some 700, 800 crores just to build that one platform, right? Essentially, it's just like a marketplace, like just like a Flipkart or just like, a simple Airbnb, where you can go see different various plans that are available and select the one, pay for it, right? Very simple. Now, you can imagine that like Policy Bazaar, exactly, Prakash, like Policy Bazaar, very simple, right? And what happened was very cool, or not very cool, actually very sad, that when they launched this platform, right, which had the entire weight of the American government behind it, when they launched that platform, and they were expecting that on the first day, some 10, 20 million people will sign up for health insurance. Abhishek, guess how many signed up?
I don't know, maybe 50 million, 100 million?
No,
because
like five people could sign up. Because what
oh,
happened
5 people
was that the product
were successfully able to sign up. Okay,
were successfully able to sign up, right? Like nobody could sign up because the product that they had created had so many different stakeholders, right? Politicians were involved, the bureaucrats were involved, the company that it was outsourced to was involved, the insurance companies were involved, Obama himself was involved, right? So there were so many different agents and stakeholders and actors in this entire game, that when the product got launched, it did not work, right? In fact, I'll tell you something very cool. So when there was these problems, right, people could not submit the form, and people, like no one, you could not upload any file that was more than like some 600 KB, and that file had to be PDF, and that file had to be named a certain way. Only then the platform would accept, right? Basically, it was so not user friendly that nobody ended up signing up, right? And Obama actually lost 3-4 percentage points of his approval rating. Imagine, like, that was the impact, right? So, and at the end of the day, the entire problem, they also spent some money to research as to why this problem even occurred, right? And the people who could troubleshoot it, even they couldn't log in because the login function wasn't working. So no one could even troubleshoot because the admin login was the same login as the user login. Okay. So what they realized after doing a lot of research why this program failed was that there was no product management or product manager involved in the entire process. They had a developer, they had some designers, they had somebody, but they had nobody to bring everything together. Now think about it, Abhishek. I mean, if you were to build a house, and this is a very good example, guys, like just listen this. If you take one thing today, just take this the next 30 seconds of what I'm going to say. When you're building a house, right, you don't go to a plumber and say ki tum plumbing kar do. You don't go to a bricklayer and say you lay the bricks. You don't go to a roofer and say ki aap roof laga do. You don't go to a kitchen person say ki aap kitchen bana do. You do not do that. What do? You go to an architect and say, let's first lay out everything on a piece of paper on AutoCAD or wherever, and then we will go and distribute the work. And then when everyone's working, the architect would come on site and make sure everyone's doing their work, everything is as per plan, the user needs are thought about, the architect will sit with you, figure out, okay, you need 2 rooms, you need 3 rooms, right? That is what a product manager is. A product manager is what an architect is to a building, right?
And by
more often than not.
And by the way, if I may say, it's a beautiful example because everybody initially will say, I will go to a contractor. But the problem with the contractor is, in a tech world, equivalent of an engineering head. They can only engineer the solution, which you have to tell them what to build. They can't build it on their own. So no contractor will ever build a house if you don't know what the house is to be built. So I think what Pratham is making a beautiful point is product management is all about, product manager is all about a person who can decide what is to be built, how is to be built, and more importantly, why it is going to be built. Right? I think
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, there's a why element is
Yeah,
massive there.
and I think most products that fail, like this Obamacare.com or like these other lots of products that are not very well, not easy to use. More often than not, the problem is the fact that there was no product manager. Right? I have also learned this the hard way. I before I started Masters Union, I was at Outgrow. I ran that company for 10 years. By the way, very cool product. It's a shameless plug from my end. We create content management systems for large publishers, right? And in the first 3 years, it was me working with the developers directly, right? And we were just building anything, not thinking about what the user needs are, how the user will actually use the product. We did not even think about analytics, like when the users are actually using the product, how are they using it? Are they using the right way? Are they using the wrong way? All of these things we had completely forgotten, right? Only after मतलब ठोकर खा खा के सीखा हमने कि यार no, we need a product manager. Then we hired someone who was a product manager. She was a former product manager at Shadi.com. She came in and she said, "What are you guys building? This is now how things are supposed to be done, right? Let's actually first make a plan, and there are tools like this. So just the way accounting you can learn, right? Just the way software development you learn, product management is an incredibly technical field that you have to learn. It does not come naturally to anybody. And that is what this entire program that we're talking about is all about, actually, right? Now let's talk about Masters Union, and then we'll talk about the entire boot camp that we're, the product management boot camp. Sonali, I will answer your question as well. So Masters Union is essentially, an alternative business school. It's an experimental business school. We started 2 years ago with the mission that we want to reimagine business education. That's it, right? We said we will not take anything for granted. We will not say that, okay, it has to be 4 semesters. We will not take it for granted that it has to be 2 years. We will not take it for granted that it has to be accounting 101, accounting 102, marketing 101, marketing 102. We said whatever business schools in the world exist, they all do exactly the same thing. A Wharton and an ISB and an IIM and a Harvard more or less are doing the same thing, right? They're teaching similar courses. And I've been to one of them, so I can give you with a lot of certainty this point that everyone is teaching basically the same thing. And we said, sure, it works out for Harvard, it works out for IIM because the students they take are so good already. What is your contribution, right? So we kept thinking about that, and we said, hey, let's create a program from scratch. And so we created Masters Union MBA, which is the Masters Union PGP, right? The postgraduate program in technology and business management that has 3 essential different things from a regular MBA. One, that it is fully taught by practitioners. I'm sure most of you guys know about it. We don't have full-time faculty. We have practitioners who are CEOs, MDs, chief product officers, chief data officers at different companies who come and teach students. That's number one, right? So when they teach in a way that is extremely hands-on. They teach in a way that how they train their new employees. When someone joins their company, the way they train them, that's how they train the students, right? That's number one. Number two is that we have a full focus on technology. 50% of our courses are actually tech courses, right? So everyone has to study product management, everyone has to study software development, everyone has to study, data science, everyone has to study programming, UI, UX, etc. So because of that, the future belongs to technology. All companies, when they hire today, need students or need people who understand technology, right? That just goes without saying, and especially for product management. And the third thing that is different about Masters Union is that the classes are fully hands-on. And in fact, most of the classes happen in the form of challenges that we give to students. And if you guys have been to the Masters Union website, you will see this, where we give 8 challenges to students in the 8 terms. So challenges are, for example, in the first term, students have to actually build their own drop shipping business. And the grades are dependent on how much revenue you make as compared to your other classmates. Right? So you actually run your own business. You set up the Shopify store, you set up the supply chain, you set up the marketing, you set up all the entire team structure, etc. You build it up. Second term, you do this very cool challenge where you actually adopt a local dhaba and you help that local dhaba earn more money. As simple as that, right? So you may recreate their entire marketing strategy, you might recreate their social media strategy, you might redo their pricing, right? Such that dhaba makes more money. And some of our students have done an incredible job, right? In the third term, we actually help an Uber driver make more money and get better paying rides, right? And all of these challenges are guided. There are masters who help through these challenges. But at the end of the day, it's all hands-on, right? It's all hands-on. So that's how Masters Union is structured. It's a very cool program. Last year, our first cohort graduated. very interestingly, the MBBs of the world, McKinsey, Bain, and BCG, all three recruited from Masters Union. We became only the fifth institution in the country after IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, and ISB, where all three came in the same year to recruit, right? And that says a lot about our curriculum. So that's a bit about Masters Union, right? And I'm sure if you guys Google, you will find a bunch more. Talk to our students, talk to the cohort, the first cohort, the second cohort, and the third cohort is also starting in a month's time. Talk to these people, you will get to know about Masters Union, right? We can
Pratham,
be as transparent. In fact,
can I add
please,
something
please.
as a master myself? Right. So
Yes, of course.
obviously Pratham is the founder, right? This is his baby. So you can see he's super passionate about it. This is one thing that he wants to see absolute success and growth. And I think uh, Masters Union is a rocket ship which is almost out of orbit, of Earth's orbit, right? And now we have to decide whether we're going to take the Elon Musk route of going to Mars, or we're going to go beyond that. But I think as a master, as someone who comes from the industry, someone who's taught in multiple courses, and I take communication at MU for the PGP, I will say one thing about Masters Union. If you want to be unique, if you want to build your career on uniqueness, on being creative, on being different, and you will be surprised. The world today values creativity, being different, being novel, far more than being normal, right? I think being different, being creative, being awesome, being and being, in a very different way, if I can use the word left center, it's just left field, right? It's the way the curriculum is set. One thing I've always joked with Pratham about is you are doing one thing right always. You're churning out top end managers and executives, not graduates, management graduates. Every other B
And guys,
school, including my own B school, ISB, throws out
I was gonna
management
say,
graduates, right? This is the only school I believe, and I truly believe, at the risk of making people angry at my own alma mater, that Masters Union is throwing out managers, executives, people who are ready to work, right? Who are ready to deliver. And I think that's
and
unique.
Abhishek, I mean, thanks so much for that. That's really exactly the thought that we had while we started up. And at Masters Union, we have a very small class, right? We had 60 students in the first batch, and that's our third cohort. I think we'll have around 200 kids or something like that. But we have four essential tracks in Masters Union, right? The four tracks are product management, data science, marketing, branding, and finance. Right? These are the four tracks, right? That most of the people, and we will choose two of these four tracks mostly. So we thought, let's do an experiment. Let's do another experiment where we take one of our tracks, in this case, product management, and let's make it open to anybody, even if you're not part of the PGP program, because the PGP program requires you to study 16 hours a day. It requires you to leave your job and spend 16 months on our campus, right? We thought, not everyone has that time. So how can we sort of make our curriculum, our experience available to more people, right? And that's how this idea for the Mastercamp in product management actually came about. And we were very excited because product management is a growing field, of course, and also this is the most popular track within Masters Union, right? So we wanted to start with product management and say, let's bring the same masters who teach Masters Union, right? Let's bring that same rigor, but let's bring it in a hybrid format such that people don't have to leave their jobs, such that people who have full-time jobs can still run a program like that, but at the end of the day, get the same outcomes at Masters Union. So Masters Union last year, our average product management placement was at approximately 30 lakhs, 31 lakhs, right? And we want to sort of maintain that rigor, and we want to maintain that quality in an online program as well. To be very honest, this is an experiment, guys. I'll be very honest that this is an experiment. We might only run one batch because we don't, as you guys all know, we don't care about numbers. We care about quality. We care about our brand, right? So we only might run one cohort of 60 students and see how that experiment pans out, right? But the interesting part is two things I want to get about, right? Before we jump into the details. One is that this is different from all the product management courses like Upgrad, Great Learning, ISB, etc. offer, because this is a program which leads to a placement, right? This is not a program where you enter into a program that you learn something and then you're on your own for placements. This is a program where we work with the students to make sure that placements work out, right? And anybody who knows Masters Union knows that placements is our USP. That is what we focus on, and that is our core. So the first most important part to remember that this is an end-to-end program, right? This is a program which is essentially an alternative to an MBA, right? We teach exactly the same curriculum that we teach at Masters Union. Maybe not with the same rigor because Masters Union is a full-time program, but with the same depth, right? And I hope people can make out the difference between the two. Now let's continue. So the program is fairly clear. It's a 4-month program. Essentially, you need to spend 12 hours a week minimum. It will probably require more. It's a hybrid program where many classes will be online, but many classes will be offline on our campus as well. So you're more than welcome to travel. Even if you guys are from Pune, Bangalore, come for a week and take classes on our campus, right? And interact and engage with people. Also, you can meet people in your own city, right? So if you're from Bangalore, there are 5 more people from Bangalore. You can actually group up. It's a hands-on program. So I think Abhishek can speak more to this, but I think the program is only 30% or 40% input from masters. Most of it is stuff that you have to do yourself, right? And we'll get into more detail about that. The next cohort is, of course, starting very, very soon. And I think it's open to anybody, right? I mean, if you're a developer, if you're an associate product manager, you want to become a product manager, if you're a developer who wants to get into product management, I think it's a fair game for anybody, right? So, first 3 things that this program will focus on, right, is, of course, product thinking, how to empathize with customers, right? All of those things, how to think about design. Second, it will also focus on engineering, managing engineering teams. A big part of product manager's job is to make sure that all the engineers are aligned, right? So, we'll talk about waterfall method, agile methods, how software is actually developed. And guys, there was a question also I saw that you do not need to be a engineering student to do this. We will teach you enough engineering so that you can understand what an engineer does at the end of the day and how to manage him. And most importantly is that you will learn about product analytics and using product as a growth tool, right? And I will let Abhishek speak more about this the second half. So product and design thinking, as you guys can sort of see from the illustration, is thinking about how do you take a blueprint, right? Make it into a more detailed blueprint, and from there take it to actual production, right? I'm just showing you how the website was created for Masters Union, right? First, we created the wireframe, then we created high fidelity wireframes, then we created the platform, right? So this entire structure of how this thing actually happens will be taught in detail, right? The second is how to manage the engineering teams, right? So how does code, you will not be taught how to write the code. That is not part of the program. And you don't need to learn that, by the way, for product management. But how it all moves together, right? How the pieces of the puzzle come together is something you will learn, right? So you will understand how engineering teams are run, how the work is divided between 2 or 3 developers, how DevOps works, right? DevOps is developer operations, right? So how a product actually goes from staging to live to production, how that entire system takes place, what is AWS, what role does AWS play in the entire game? All of that stuff would be taught and covered. The third is, of course, marketing through the product and analytics, using the leveraging and analytics to improve the product from there on, right? So here, A/B testing will be covered in detail. How do you do A/B testing? So all of these things you guys can see on the website, but the 3 major issues will be covered in detail, right? So this is not a unidimensional program. It's a very multi-dimensional program, right? This is what is expected out of a product manager. Even when we recruit at Masters Union for product managers or at Outgrow for product managers, these are the 3 tests that we ask them to take. These are the 3 skills we test them on, right? So yeah, as I said, we bring in some of the best product management thinkers from the industry to come and teach. We don't think that there are any professors who can teach product management because it's a very new field and nobody does a PhD in product management. I think I can say that with a lot of certainty. So we have people who have worked in the industry for the longest time who come and teach all of these concepts. You guys can see their names here.
Pratham, can I add something on that if you don't mind?
Yes, of course. Go ahead.
I think this is a very important slide, right? I think, and this is a very important piece of information you must have. These are people we have worked very closely in the past, people I know very well. And these people were there at the start of product management. Product management is a new field. It only started 10 to 15 years back. These people were at the start of product managers, where a lot of you are, let's say, starting your careers. they started as product managers when nobody even knew what product management was. So they have seen, and they're truly the first round of evolutionary thinkers, right? So think of this as an MBA studying through Kotler himself, who had written the book
Yep.
on marketing, right? So
Yeah.
these people have written the playbook on product management. Not that they've written books, they're not academicians. They've written the book in the products that they've developed, in the features that they've executed. So I think that's something very, very unique about these masters, where
Yeah.
they've actually been when the sunrise happened, right?
Correct.
When that
Correct.
industry showed up.
What I wanted to cover next was the fact that this is a fully hands-on program, right? This is not a theory-based or a lecture-based program, guys. And I want to speak about 6 things that make this program truly experiential. First is weekly product challenges, right? Every week you'll have a new company come in and give you a product challenge on which you have to respond, right? There is no better way to learn product management than by actually working on real products. Right? On a weekly basis, you'll be given a product challenge, right? A product challenge example could be, tell us about, let's say Uber comes and Uber will say, okay, tell us about 3 changes that you will make in the customer journey to improve our, conversion rate from 18% to 26%. Right? And now all of you guys have to then compete with each other on convincing the Uber product manager as to how you will do it and how your way is better. Right? So you'll have to think about the users, you'll have to do some research, you'll have to use the product yourself, of course. And so these weekly product challenges, and then of course you will get feedback, right? And you will be able to hear also what your friends and your peers, how they approach the challenge. Very important concept. I hope this is taken seriously. Build your own product. This is very important as well. So everyone will be required to build their own minimum viable product. Even if you're a fresher and if you've never worked in engineering or in product, and if you want to get a product management job, the interviewer will ask you, have you built a product before? Have you worked in product management before? And your answer, if you're a fresher, is probably going to be no, right? Or if you're coming on engineering background, also it'll be no, right? You might have done some work in SAP, or in C++, etc., but you haven't built a product end to end. So then, because we would have asked you to build this entire product, you'll actually be able to tell them, hey, listen, I've built a product and here, this is my mobile app that I've built. You can actually show it to them in real time, right? And that's how you crack interviews. That's how we were able to crack interviews at Masters Union last year as well. Startup weekend, this is quite cool. This is also every month where in groups of 5, you have to build a startup, right? In just 48 hours, you'll have to build a startup. I know it sounds crazy, but believe me, everyone does it and everyone has a great time. And you actually touch on different themes, right? So first term, you might touch on edtech. Second term, you will touch on crypto. Third term, you will touch on fintech. Fourth, in AI ML, right? So you actually have to build a startup. You have to build a prototype in 48 hours. Nobody sleeps. People just sort of sleep through the night. I mean, stay awake through the night and build these amazing, prototypes. Many of them use no-code tools. Many of them use, their programming background, etc. But this is all very, very cool. Saurabh, just to answer your question, it's totally up to you how much you want to visit. You can visit for as many days as possible or not at all also. It's totally up to you. Blockchain product challenge. Of course, blockchain is an up and coming thing. Crypto is huge. I don't know how long the fervor will last, right? But I know for a fact that if you're a product manager and you don't understand blockchain, you are lost, right? So we focus a lot on blockchain, and there'll actually be a blockchain focused product challenge, where you'll have to build a blockchain related product. Of course, the classroom is very interactive. I mean, you can read all the stuff that we do, but it's a lot of fun stuff. I will not go into too much detail. I think I've already covered, but the idea essentially is that, this is the first product management course that is available online. We already do this in our offline campus. Online, where all of these things are done so hands-on, right? Most importantly, the tools of the trade, right? These are the tools that you have to learn, right? If you call yourself a product manager and don't know these tools, forget about it, right? These are the basic tools. In each of these 5 categories, you need to know at least 1 or 2 tools at the minimum. And the program covers all these tools in detail, right? And so that is why it's very important. Okay, now let's talk about placements. This is our placement record for product management. For fresher engineers, we are able to score 18 lakhs. For engineers with more than 2 years of work experience, up to 26 lakhs. With freshers who are non-engineers from a BCom, BBA background, maybe 14 lakhs. And then for, work ex experience with non-engineering backgrounds, 22 lakhs. Sure, Prince. I can just quickly show you guys. Take a screenshot, but this is also on the website, so don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to let Abhishek speak about the curriculum. Abhishek, do you want to take it from here?
Sure.
I think,
Thanks, Pratham.
month by month, you can sort of cover it. But just before that, let me just cover one last thing, which is, the community-based learning. Right. The idea is that we want to give you an experience which you would get in a college. right, in a physical college, and we want to do that online, right? So we do all the things online that we do on our campus. So the one-on-one mentorship program that we run on Masters Union campus, we run this as a part of this program, right? All the networking sessions, all of those benefits that you get as part of being Masters Union, you get from this program as well, right? All the clubs, all the activities, all of the excursions, all of those things that we do, all of those things are open to students as well, because it's very important to learn in a community. You cannot learn outside of a community. I think, and of course, most importantly, that placements is at the center of the master camp, right? Even before we start teaching you, we'll start helping you build a product portfolio. We'll start figuring out the dream list for your companies, the interview prep, and of course the drive will start. We already have 50 plus drives lined up from Masters Union. That's something that we focus on from the beginning. The fees, of course, is again on the website. It's a very, very premium program. Only 60 students. We'll probably close out the program. Today is 15th. By the 22nd, we want to close out this program. Only 60 students. As I said, this is an experiment. We have not done this in a hybrid fashion before. We've only done this on our campus, right? And people have to leave their jobs for 16 months to come to our campus. So this is a time we were experimenting with, an online program. So if you guys are interested, definitely apply sooner than later. By the way, I'll be very honest, we will not accept everybody. We will only accept people we think the right fits for this program. That's why there's an application fees as well. And that's why you have to, fill in the entire application, right? We want to make sure that we can help you and you're the right fit for the program. So I'm going to stop here. Abhishek, I'll let you take up. But before that, I just want to answer a few questions that I saw.
Yeah, Abhishek, I think let's answer.
After this,
let's answer the questions first. Yeah, let's do that first.
Yeah. So Saurabh, you work in IT services company. You don't make products. You're from services. How can it help me in my career? I mean, Saurabh, if you want to get into product management, and if you want to transition from IT services to product management, this is the program for you, right? Most of the students from our first batch were, of course, students who were coming from an IT ES background, from an Infosys, from a Cognizant, from one of these companies, either as developers or as, system admins, etc., who then wanted to transition into product management. So that's exactly the kind of audience we look at. Dipakshi, the eligibility of the program is actually, I think I've already answered this question, but essentially, if you have finished your undergrad, or if you're in the final year of your undergrad, and if you have 2-3 years of work experience, up to 10-15 years of work experience, this is fair, right? When you apply for jobs, we have to apply for the right jobs, right? So as I showed you, there are 4 categories of students who we basically induct into the program. One is fresher engineers who have 2+ years of work experience, fresher non-engineers, and WorkX people who are in non-engineering backgrounds. So, everyone is fair game. But once you apply, we will further check. Can a person who applied for PGP TBM 2022 apply for this? Yes, of course you can apply. Metaverse, yes, of course. Actually, it's a good point. I mean, Abhishek, I think we missed out on Metaverse. But I think when we mentioned blockchain, we meant Web3, which covers Metaverse as well. I know gaming is going to be a very important part as well, Rupayan, but good point about Metaverse. If it's not already there, we'll definitely add it, to the program. Yeah. Is it for freshers? I think that question is answered. Is it good for people who want to get into marketing? Mona Lisa, probably not, right? I think this is more for product management, not for marketing. But yes, there will be a Mastercamp on marketing and branding, but maybe in 2 to 3 months' time, not right now. So I think there are 2 or 3 questions about not having a tech background. So I think I've already answered that. It does not matter if you have a tech background or not have a tech background. We will help you build that tech background, right? Most good product managers are actually not developers, right? So don't worry about that. Deepak has a question that he's from agriculture background. That's all right, does not matter. You need to have the aspiration to do product management. That's all that matters. Amisha, you will not be required to work 16 hours a day, but over the weekends at least you'll be required to work a lot. Over the weekdays, it's up to you, right? How much effort do you want to put in? Because amount of effort you put in will be directly proportional to your placement. I'll be very honest about that.
I think Pratham has an interesting question. If you don't mind, can I take that?
Go ahead. Please.
So Pratham's question is, I work as an analyst in an IB and looking for a career transition. Does this suit my background, given I'm a BCom grad and maybe non-engineering? Here's an interesting point, Pratham. Anybody who's been on the VC side, PE side, or IB side, who's done deals, who knows about these companies and startups, it's interestingly, you've seen the business side of things. Now imagine seeing the product side of things. You could become an absolute hotshot entrepreneur overnight, because now you know how to get the money and now you know how to build products. I think that could be a very interesting collaboration of those 2 set of skills, I would say.
Sort of any scholarship, yes, there are scholarships available. Even 100% scholarships are going to be available if you think you're the right fit for the program. And if you are high on our merit, we will give you a scholarship. We are going to be very open. Even in the first year of Masters Union, I think almost 80% of the students were on scholarship, right? And that's because you want to build the first batch as a very strong batch. You've done your MBA in finance and working in mutual funds, that's fine. If you want to get into product management, Kirti, that's why you would do this program, right? See, there's another thing that I would say, that most CEOs now are product managers, right? You look at Uber, look at most importantly Google, right? CEO of Google, I mean, he was a product manager. He started as a product manager. So most CEOs nowadays are product people. So I think if you want to grow in your career, I think product management is very strong. Sudeep, you're an automobile engineer, sure. Product management is definitely part of the manufacturing process, but I think it's slightly different. It's slightly different. The kind of tools you use, the kind of empathy, understanding you need to have is slightly different. But if you are an engineering background, if you have structured thinking as part of your character, nature, that's all you need. Vishaka, what we look for in an ideal candidate is a zeal to learn. That's it. For me, it's hands-on. Are you excited about learning? Are you excited about building a career in product management? Tushar, if you're waitlisted for PGP, it depends. If you want to get into product management, yes. And if you get through the waitlist of PGP, you can just change the program. We will adjust your fees, etc. Kirti has a question. Compared to engineering and non-engineering background, what could be the difficulties for MBA background people? I don't think there's any advantages or disadvantages in placements. No, I mean, the program covers enough tech that will bring you at par. But yes, your packages might be slightly lesser, right? As I have shown you here on this slide, you can see that non-engineering people have slightly less packages. That's okay. I mean, you can cover up. If you do well, you can cover up in 1 or 2 years. The recording we will send, Samane. The recording will be available on YouTube. Dipakshi, if I'm not interested in tech field, would product management be relevant to go for? Probably not, Dipakshi. I mean, you should be interested in tech, right? Because product management is mostly going to be in and around tech. So, and tech is very wide. I mean, Facebook is tech, Razorpay is tech, Apple is tech, Uber is tech, Unacademy is tech. So I think most companies are tech companies. So either way, one way or the other, you will come into tech. Prince, admissions fee 25K. Yes, I mean, it might be too much, but I mean, that's our policy. We only want 60 students, and I think there are enough students out there. So we want to make sure that the batch is high quality, and this helps us maintain that high quality. From analytics to product, sort of, yes. A lot of our first batch students were people who were coming from analytics or analyst backgrounds who wanted to get into product. You guys have structured thinking. You guys are good at math. You guys understand, how sort of everything comes together, how professional organizations work. And if you have the zeal to learn, again, as I mentioned, it should be an easy jump. Brunel, yes, this program is one where you do not have to leave your job. This program is a part-time program that we're talking about right now. This is not the PGP. This is the Mastercamp, right? So this is a part-time program, Brunel. I hope that answers your question. Final year BBA, International Business. Nilesh, I think you should speak to us one-on-one. You might be a little bit young, but again, right, it depends on how much effort you want to put in. If you want to put in the effort, then please go ahead. What tech skills are required and what will be covered in the program? The Pakshi tech skills, there are no tech skills that are required for the program, but what will be covered in the program is essentially an understanding of how the entire technology team works, right? And, what are the different programming languages? What are the different platforms? How AWS works, how cloud works, how the internet as a whole works. So all of those things will be taught to you, right?
Not can I add a few points there, Pratham, just so that we can help? So essentially, it's one of the key pieces of information and jargon per se that a product manager should know, right? Agile, Scrum, you would have heard of these things, right? Agile, the Scrum way of doing things, the Agile way of thinking, not doing waterfalls. The whole idea of MVP versus MLP, right? Minimal viable product and maximum loved product, right? So how can you get the intersection of both of them going? And the idea is, obviously, we'll talk about data structures and algorithms, but do remember, the curriculum and the program is not to make engineers out of you. It's the ability to work with engineering and tech engineering teams and get work done, right? So the course will focus on enough tech presented in a non-tech way that you are able to have that conversation and get the work done in terms of creating those products. Remember, you are the architect. You're the architect, and I may sound very old when I say you are the architect of the matrix, right? So all these coders, crazy coders can build everything for you in the world. But if they don't know what to build, they can't build the matrix. You're the only person who can build the matrix, right? Because you are the true architect, the person who has actually designed it. So you need to know and speak everybody's language. That is the idea behind the course.
Perfect. I'll just answer two more questions, Abhishek, and then I'll let you take over for the curriculum, the details of the
Sure,
curriculum.
sure,
I
sure.
also have to jump because I have another webinar right after this. I have to join that at least 10 minutes early. So I'll just cover the application process. The application process is quite clear, guys. You apply on the website, right? So you apply on the website, you fill in the application form, then there'll be an interview, and then you'll be, given your acceptances or rejections. It's a quick process. We don't make people wait for 6 months, 3 months, 4 months. It's a very quick process. Our team is going to be on it. Is it suitable for freshers having non-engineering background? Yes, Mona Lisa, I've already covered this. Scholarship decision is taken during the admissions, right? So when you receive your acceptance, you will get a scholarship decision along with it, or maybe 1 or 2 days after that. Yes, there will be more webinars like this, or you will get an email from us if you got an email about this one. And Azhar, you had a question, I wanted to cover that, which is that you're already a PM and you wanted any short-term course. So far, we don't have any short-term courses. We have 2 short-term courses, but those are more in communication and leadership that you can find on the Masters Union website. But in product management, we have an end-to-end program for now, right? So probably not the right fit for you. The fee structure, Azhar, is on the website. You can check it out. I'll just go to that screen quickly and show it to you. How much time is required to be spent on campus, Shubhajit? It's up to you, right? I would recommend at least 10 to 20% time should be spent on campus. But if you cannot travel or if you have a job commitment, then it's all right, even if it's 0, right? But we give you the option. It's totally up to you. Awesome, guys. I think I'll pause here. I'll let Abhishek take over. Thanks, Abhishek, for your patience and for listening to me rant
No, that's
for
fine.
the entire hour.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful.
Over to you. Over to you. Thanks so much.
Okay, cool. So the first month is spent around setting the basics right for all of you around product management, the whole concept of the product development cycle, how to go through the 7 stages of product management, the whole concept of product market fit, the right product and the right market at the right time. And as a product manager, the engineers love building MVPs, which is called the minimal viable product. And MLP is the most loved or the maximum loved product, which is what the marketing people would love to bring. But can you combine both of them and be the product manager and the architect which combines that? So the first week is around introducing you to the world of product management because it will be new for a lot of you. The second week is getting you into the trenches, into the war, into understanding what is agile, what is Scrum, how you go about building products and releasing them. And there's some certification exams called the CSPO and the PSPO. These are Scrum, product owner certifications. And it's very important as product managers to also know the concepts around these because in future you could actually go for some of these certifications. Then, as Pratham said, placement is in the heart of this program. So we start getting you ready for the interview boot camps. You start looking at interview frameworks. We help you with doing estimates, how to crack PM cases. And towards the end of the first month, we move into how do you do research? How do you figure out the users? Who are the user personas? Not the users, the user personas. Understanding the mind of the customer, understanding the mind of the user. That's the focus of the last week in the first month. Month 2, once you've understood what the customers want, right? Product management is about visualization. How do you show that beautiful product and that beautiful flow? How do you make things simple? You don't want an Obamacare after 200 million, only 5 people registering and actually doing it successfully. It's about UI, UX, user experience, and product and design. I think a lot of people had questions. I know UI, UX, I have a background there. Absolutely, this is the right course for you, right? So, how do you build the wireframes? How do you go around doing design sprints? But then, how do you translate that to an actual product, right? And again, coming back to the placement piece, the personal branding. One of the key things which is really, really important about product managers is you need to have a personality. You're dealing with multiple teams, engineering teams, finance teams, marketing teams, sales teams, and you with CXOs, you need to have your own personality, your profile, the ability to bring everybody together. And finally, once you build everybody together, they're going to ask you the simple question. Abhishek, you are the product manager. Tell me what the strategy is. How are you going to build a business around this product? I'm not doing it for fun. We're going to make money out of this product. We're going to raise funding on the basis of this product. This is the MVP, which will get us a Series A, which will get us a seed round. So how are you going about building a product strategy? How will the product evolve over a period of time? How will you build business and add new revenue streams to this? How will you reduce cost over a period of time? And then it comes into the BAM moment. When you launch the product, when you put out the marketing, when you get the first set of hates and love from the customer, from your users, when you get your rating on the Google Play Store or iOS App Store, this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where your product truly comes alive, right? It becomes the product which is actually launched, because there is no product which is useful if never launched. In month three, we come into the real technical angle of product management. This is where product analytics show up. This is where the tech product management piece comes into place, and development operations. So tech product management is more around how can you use web applications, APIs and webhooks. This is a very important piece. This is where different systems talk to each other. So Uber works because Uber is connected to Google Maps, and through these APIs, through these webhooks, right? So this is where product management is very critical, because it allows you should build products which can connect to any system, any software, any piece of data, right? And towards the end, we will actually get into the coding piece, right? Because for a lot of people, a lot of coding jargon and words really scare you. So data structures and algorithms, how to use no code development, where you even don't know coding, but you can actually build a website through Wix and all through these different websites. You can create apps on your own without actually knowing development. But the key piece is, how do you work and manage development teams? That is a big people angle as a part of product management. And through this product management bootcamp, one of the key pieces, and I think the sort of the inflection point, is product analytics. And somebody made that point, I was in analytics, can I go into product? Absolutely. Because the whole product development cycle is an iterative cycle. You make a product, you retire some features, you add new features, and you keep building it. And this is where the product analytics piece comes into play. I'd already covered month two in the previous slide. Mrunal and Saurabh, there's an interesting point. Do you think this is a short program for someone who's in a full-time job? Not necessarily. The way we've planned this is we're looking for all of you to spend not more than 12 hours a week, maybe 6 to 7 hours over the weekend, and maybe an hour per day. And I think if you are truly wedded to actually moving and making a career in product management, I believe this is very, very valuable and reasonable time to spend. So, yeah, that's what I would say. And I think it's both a sprint and a marathon. So, I think look at the curriculum or the program in terms of, there is a marathon you're running over 12 weeks, but then you'll have short sprints, particularly around your projects, around challenges, around placements. So, that's how it is. It is reflective of how a business school would run, because we want to give you the same experience. In the last month, you will again see now the focus heavily is on placements, right? Getting the interview boot camps, getting you absolutely ready, have the ability to take your portfolio. We'll help you create your own portfolios. We can showcase to your future recruiters, and truly get you prepared and in that mindset to actually make that jump. And towards week 16, looking to close out the program, there will be a lot of practical use cases, group discussions, case studies that we will look to solve. This is a completely experiential learning program, right? So I think I want to highlight to everybody, this is not an academic program. So if you're signing up for an academic program, this is not one. The acads or the academic portion is just to hold the structure. But fundamentally, this will be delivered purely in an experiential learning way, because the masters who are teaching it are not academicians. They will coach you and train you and develop you exactly how they develop hundreds of product managers. So this is very on the job, real time. It's not going to be 100 slides per session. No way. By the way, a lot of people look for courses like that. This is not that course for you, right? This is 10, 15, 20 slides, but more importantly, it's what you discuss, what you learn from each other, and what you achieve. Because the idea with this course is that you will eventually get a beautiful portfolio that you put together. And that's what you showcase to the employer, because that's why they will buy into you. That's why they will invest into you, right? And micro courses. So, in addition to the 4 months where you're going to get a lot of live interaction with the masters and a lot of these group activities and exercises and simulations, you will also have a lot of recorded content through the masters around all these 6 areas. The most interesting one is the 50 p.m. interview questions. So, we're going to create a massive database and library, and we have this for you for interviews, right? So this is the holy grail. This is the guide that you can refer to, and there's a lot of easy content for you to internalize, particularly around a lot of the technical jargon and technical knowledge, because a lot of people feel little intimidated by that. So we've definitely got that covered as well for you. And I think that's pretty much from my end. I covered the curriculum, and I hope all of you can get a sense of looking at it. So, Rohan, this is not an MBA program, right? This is a product management. So, as Pratham said, we have taken out one track of the TBM course and built out this Mastercamp. This is not a full blown MBA. This is the program which makes you a product manager. So, this is not a program which makes you a management graduate. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, Rohan, I think designing such an app, a prototype is definitely possible, and we'll help you put it in your portfolio as well.
Absolutely. I think, Rohan, that's the idea, right? The ability to have built something. Because remember, I do want to highlight this because I worked with Apple and Accenture and hired a lot of people and was part of onboarding and recruitment teams. One of the fundamental mistakes some students are making and young people are making now is they're believing only degrees and certifications will solve. And I have to go to an accredited university. You know what? Companies don't care. They're looking for skills, they're looking for real world skills. If you can demonstrate the ability to showcase these skills, they will forget the certifications. They don't even care, right? So reality is, this is where your portfolios are very powerful. They showcase your real world skill. They showcase your ability to be awesome product managers. And I think that's the way to look at it.
So Vaibhav Raj has 4 years of experience in an engineering role. So is this the right course for him to transition into a PM role?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Vaibhav, you have the requisite amount of experience in terms of engineering. I think now is welcome to the PM world, right? Because you've seen the engineering side of things, right? It's now, you will tell us that it's not about the glory of the role itself, but the product managers are genuinely moving the companies forward, right? They are adding new revenue lines, they are adding new business. So if you want to move to the business side of things, rarely see where the action is happening. I think product management makes sense. So I think thank you everyone. I think we had a wonderful session, and I think really looking forward to having all of you here. And please apply, and let's do this.